So this video goes over a 3-part squat series that I'd like you to use as part of your warm-up prior to your heavy squatting day. So this 3-part series allows you to focus on the eccentric component of the squat, so the slowing down the lowering portion, as well as adding in an isometric component, so adding in a long pause at the bottom position of the squat. So what this allows us to do is to slow the entire movement down and really focus in on thinking of the common cues that are used during the squat movement, and also focusing on really feeling the exercise and the muscle groups that we want to be activating during this movement. So then when translated into your workout, you are allowed to move more weight more efficiently because you know that you're creating tension in the right areas and being most productive with that movement. So the 3 cues that I'd like you to think about when slowing down the squat and using this 3-part series are the following. So when you initiate the movement, I'd like you to think about pushing your knees outward. So if you're slowly lowering, it allows you to focus on pushing your knees outward and really understanding what it feels like to use that cue. The second thing that I'd like you to think about is sending your butt backwards and sitting back into your squat. So as soon as you initiate the movement and you push your knees out, I'd like you to then think about pushing your butt back and sitting back into the stance. The third thing that I'd like you to think about when in the bottom portion of the squat and holding the bottom squat position is to think about keeping tension in your hamstrings and your glutes as well as your core. So a common mistake that is seen in the squat when moved to the barbell or a goblet squat and using a heavier weight, a common thing that people do is to either rush out of the bottom position so they're never really hitting proper depth, or they do hit proper depth, but we start to see a little bit of rounding in the hips and the lumbar spine. So by spending time in the bottom portion of the squat and really focusing on creating tension, that will avoid those common errors that we see then when you go to add more weight. Creating tension and keeping that tension in the bottom of the squat is key to low back safety, as well as being able to be more efficient with the weight that you're moving when you squat. So try to keep those 3 cues in mind when you're going into this 3-part squat series. And I'll quickly remind you, knees out, butt back, and then staying balanced on your feet and creating tension in the bottom position and getting comfortable down there to then be able to quickly generate force back up into the concentric portion, returning back to the starting position of the squat. So let's dive into the 3-part series. So using a light kettlebell or your body weight, get into your squat stance. What we're going to be doing is doing a 3-second slow lower followed by a 3-second hold at the bottom. So what I'd like you to do is count 1, 2, 3 on the way down, 1, 2, 3, and then explode up as hard as you can. Focus on pushing your knees out and feeling your hamstrings, your glutes, and your core while staying balanced on your feet. During the second movement, you're going to go down at a regular pace and then hold for a 3-second pause, followed by an explosive movement up. So you're going to lower at a regular pace, 1, 2, 3, and then explode up. And the last exercise, you're going to stand over the kettlebell in a deadlift position, clean the kettlebell, and then slowly lower into the squat and then explode up. So this time, no hold at the bottom. So again, clean the kettlebell, slowly lower yourself down into the squat, and then immediately explode back upward. Clean the kettlebell, slowly lower. As soon as you hit proper depth, explode up. That concludes the 3-part. So that concludes the 3-part squat series. In terms of sets and reps, don't overthink it. Do 3 reps of each exercise. So there's 3 different squat variations that I'd like you to try in the warm-up. I recommend doing at least 3 reps of each. If you feel like you want to do more or you want to spend more time on one than the other, that's totally fine. It's going to vary depending on what your needs are and what you feel like you need to work the most on. If you need to work the most on getting comfortable in that bottom position, you can go ahead and do more reps of that squat movement. The whole key is to make sure that you're primed and ready to go and feeling confident going into your heavier squat as part of your workout. But at least start with 3 reps of each exercise. Hope this was helpful, and please let me know if you have any questions.